In this video, I'm going to be looking at how to draw cumulative frequency curve, otherwise known as ogive. So we're going to use this question here to determine that. The table below shows the frequency distribution of marks obtained by 100 students in mathematics text. The marks are given here and the frequency are also given here. So let's read through the question. Prepare a cumulative frequency table and use it to draw the ogive. That is the cumulative frequency curve for the given data. Use your graph to estimate the median, semi-interquartile range, the 70th percentile, and we also to find the pass mark if 35 candidates passed the exam. So what we are going to do, we're going to recreate these tables here to get the cumulative frequency table. So I'll start with the marks or class interval. So this shows the marks or the class interval for the given word marks. So we are going to just input all of this number back into this place. So the first part is going to be 10 to 19. The second one is going to be 20 to 29. We have 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, and 80 to 89. Next, we are going to draw that of the frequency. So for the frequency, we're going to enter exactly the numbers that we have here into this point here. So for the first one, we're going to have 18. Next, we have 15. Then we're going to have 6, 25, 12, 11, 10, and 3. So next on the table is the class boundary. The class boundary is going to show the boundary of all these classes here. So what we're going to do, we're going to show the lower class boundary to the upper class boundary. To get the lower class boundary, just subtract 0.5 from this. That's going to give us 9.5. Then add 0.5 to the upper limit here. That is 19.5. You do same for this. So for this class here, the second class here, the upper class boundary here is going to be the lower class boundary for this. And the upper class boundary for this is going to be the lower class boundary for this. So for the previous class, the upper class boundary becomes the lower class boundary for the next class. So let's impute the class boundary. So this is going to be 9.5 to 19.5. Then we have 19.5 to 29.5. We have 29.5 to 39.5, 39.5 to 49.5, 49.5 to 59.5, 59.5 to 69.5, 69.5 to 79.5, and 79.5 to 89.5. So the last column is going to be for the cumulative frequency. Okay, so we have the cumulative frequency. The cumulative frequency comprises the addition or the sum of the previous frequency. Now for this class here, there is no previous class before this. So we're going to start out with 18. Then the next one is going to be 18 plus 15, that's 33. Then 33 plus 6, that is equal to 39. 39 plus 25, that is equal to 64. 64 plus 12, that is equal to 76. 76 plus 11, that is equal to 87. 87 plus 10, that is equal to 97. And 97 plus 3, that is equal to 100, which is exactly the same as the number of students stated. So let us go ahead and answer the part B by plotting, by using a graph to find all of this. Okay, so we have already prepared the table, which is the table we have here. So the next we have to do is to draw the ogive, that's the cumulative frequency curve. So here we have the data here. So to draw this curve, I'm going to use this graph here to draw the cumulative frequency curve. So the first thing we'll have to do is to use the cumulative frequency and plot them on the vertical axis this way. We're going to plot that on the vertical axis this way. Then you see the highest value is 100. Okay, so we're going to divide this into this part here. Okay, so we're going to divide this into 100 parts. So let's see, if I start this from 0, then I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. That's going to be enough for us. So we're going to draw the vertical axis. Okay, so we draw the vertical axis. Again, we look at the horizontal axis. The horizontal axis is going to contain the class boundaries. Okay, so we draw the horizontal axis through this part here. Then we are going to label this part, include the cumulative what? Frequency. We're starting from 0. So, okay, so this is the cumulative frequency axis, and this axis is going to be the class boundary axis. You can call it the class boundary, you can call it the max also, you can call it that. So we're going to call this the class boundary interval. Okay, so let's take up the markings on this. So we start from 0, we go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. So for this, we are going to start from the upper class boundary here. It doesn't necessarily mean you can start it from the lower class boundary here. You can start it here, but for this class, I'm going to start it from the upper class boundary. So I have 19.5. So I'm going to have 29.5, 39.5, 49.5, 59.5, 69.5, 79.5 up to 89.5. Okay, now let's plot the point. So for 19.5, the cumulative frequency is 18. So you are going to locate 18 on this axis here. So let's locate 18. So we have 18 here. Then we are going to put a cross there to note that point. Okay, so for the next one, we have 29.5 for 33. Okay, so we're going to trace that point on this line here. So we'll have it here. So we're going to mark a point there, a cross there. Okay. Then for 39.5, the cumulative frequency is 39. So we're going to trace that up here. So you trace it here, then put a cross there to mark the point. Okay, for 49.5, the cumulative frequency is 64. Okay, then we're going to trace it out on the graph. Okay, so we locate 64 there. Then we put a cross on that also. Okay, for 59.5, the frequency is 76. So on the graph, we are going to locate 76 and then put a cross on that. For 69.5, the cumulative frequency is 89. So we're going to trace that out on the graph again, then draw a cross at that point. Now for 79.5, the cumulative frequency is 97. So we are going to plot the point, trace the point out on the curve, on the graph. Okay, then mark the point with a cross. Then for 89.5, the cumulative frequency is 100. So we're going to trace that point on the graph, then mark a cross there also. So the next thing we have to do is to draw smooth curve across this point. Okay, so that is our cumulative curve. So the next thing we have to do is to find the median. So to find the median is going to occur at, or we're going to locate it at nth divided by 2 position on the cumulative frequency axis, or the vertical axis. So that's going to give us, that's going to be equal to 100 divided by 2, which is equal to what? 50. So we're going to locate 50 on the graph and trace a line to touch the curve. Okay, then from there we'll trace it down to the horizontal axis. Okay, so we are going to take the readings now. So we're going to read from the graph. So we'll call that Q2. So Q2 is referred to as the median. So let us read off the value. So we are starting from 39.5. So the next line is going to be 40.5. The next is going to be 41.5. Next is going to be 42.5. Next is going to be 43.5. Then we have it at the midpoint, so that's going to give us 44. So the median is equal to 44. Okay, so let us record that down. So the median is 44. Now to find the semi-interquartile range, we are first of all going to look for the quartiles. So we're going to look for the lower quartile first. The lower quartile is located at nth divided by 4th position. So that's going to be equal to 100 divided by 4, that's 25. So on the cumulative frequency axis, you're going to locate 25 and draw a straight line from there to touch the curve. Okay, so now trace it to the horizontal axis. So from there, we're going to read off the value. So this is going to be, we start from 19.5, the next is going to be 20.5. Then we'll have 21.5. Then it's going to be placed at the midpoint. So that's going to give us 22. So that's at 22. So the lower quartile is 22. So we'll just record that down. Now next, we are going to look for the upper quartile. To look for the upper quartile, we're going to use 3/4 nth position. So that's going to be equal to 3 times 100 divided by 4, which is equal to 75. So we are going to trace 75 at that point on the graph to the curve. Then we'll trace it downwards. So when we trace it downward, we're going to read closely from 59.5 backward. So we have 59.5. The next is going to be 58.5. Okay. So the lower quartile, the upper quartile is 58.5. So we record that down. Now the interquartile range is given as Q3 minus Q1, and that is equal to 58.5 minus 22, that's going to give us 36.5. Then the semi-interquartile range can be calculated from Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2. So we already know that Q3 minus Q1 is equal to 36. So that's going to give us 36 divided by 2, which is equal to 18.25. So the semi-interquartile range is 18.25. So let's record that down. Next, to find the 70th percentile, we are going to draw a vertical line on the right hand side. Okay, so we'll draw the line and then we'll divide that line into 10 places into 100. We'll divide 100% into 10 places. So we do this. We have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100%. So we're going to read 70% from this line here. We're going to read 70% from this line and trace it to the smooth curve. Okay, so we have this on 70%, then we trace it to the horizontal axis. Now let us read off the values from there. So we start from there. We have 1, 2, that is 50.5. We have 51.5. And 52. So the 70th percentile is equal to 53. Okay, so let's record that down. Okay, to find the pass mark, if 35 candidates pass the exam, then 100 minus 35 must have failed the exam. So the number of students that failed the exam is 100 minus 35, which is equal to 65. So locate 65 on this axis again, then draw a line from here to touch the curve. Okay, so that's 65. Then trace it down again to the horizontal axis. So on tracing it, so we're going to count the point. This is 49.5, 50.5, 51.5. Pass mark is 51.5.